Good afternoon, CFM. This is Coach Matt with our Friday workout. Let's begin with 3 rounds through 12 calories, your choice, row, bike, or ski. And then we're gonna do some thoracic, spine, and shoulder openers. So standing rotary reach is the first one, where I'm just pulling one hand back and then placing them back together. One hand stays pointed forward the whole time, the other hand slowly and in a controlled manner articulates through that whole range of motion. So we should feel a little stretch in the chest, and we should feel those shoulder muscles starting to warm up. The next one is either your choice of either a balance drill or the step back swivel. The balance drill would be a slow single leg deadlift, where I am intentionally doing this not for strength or for stretches as much as to work on my balance, right? So focus on the balance. If you need to be nearby something to bump up against so that you don't fall, that's fine, but try to do it slowly and in control and get all those reps without touching that opposite foot to the floor. The alternate version is, let's say the coach's challenge, is one, it's called the step back swivel. It is a little bit more coordination, a little bit more footwork. It can be fun, it feels kind of cool to do it. So I start facing forward, I'm gonna step back across my center line, rotate down until I'm again facing forward with my arms and my face, all right? And then back to that standing position in one movement. And we're gonna do the same amount on the left as you do on the right. You don't need to alternate left and right, because I can kind of make you dizzy. Do like all of them on the right, and then all of them on the left, right? That's the step back swivel. The last one is inchworms with an eccentric push-up, right? So I'll start with a shoulder width stance, walk my hands out to a plank position, do a nice slow eccentric, and then press back up and walk back to your standing position, okay? That's our warm-up. When we finish that, we have 2 strength and conditioning blocks. The first one is a 15-minute block, and then there'll be a rest, and then there'll be a 20-minute block. All right, so in the 15-minute block, it's a little bit more structured. I want there to be a round starting every 3 minutes, and in that 3 minutes, you have 3 exercises to complete. One of them is a push press with a pause at the dip position. The weight for this should be in the 60 to 75% range, but if you don't know your weights, just put in a reasonable amount of weight on the bar, and if you can go up on the next set, go up on the next set, okay? But the pause push press will start from my front rack position. I'm going to dip straight down and hold 1,000, 2,000, drive and press. Reset to my shoulders, dip and hold, 1,000, 2,000, drive and press, okay? So the purpose of the dip is a number of things, right? First of all, it makes you start from a completely stopped position. This is the most challenging way to create force. So it works on your muscles' ability to go from a static position to a very dynamic position. And that is a very desirable athletic attribute. It's something that we want to train for. The next one is that it can highlight technique or position errors in your movement, right? So a lot of times when we go fast, I'll tend to roll forward, my shoulders will go forward on my hips, my heels will come up off the ground, and then I'll launch it back up and throw it back behind me, right? And when I'm doing it fast, I can't really feel that I'm doing it with those technique errors, but when I slow it down and stop, right? It'll be like, oh, normally I'm out here, or normally my heels are up, and now I'm pushing my heels down, my knees out, my elbows up, my torso's upright, my torso's vertical, right? All those things about the pause can help you to improve your technique and your posture and the movement quality when you go back to the fast version of it, all right? Next one is some bent over rows. So you can brace on a bench, do some bent over rows with a single arm, and the last one is just a front plank. So just brace that core, right? Hold for 30 seconds and go through that sequence 5 times in 15 minutes. When you finish that, take a little break and you set up for the next spot. The next one is 20 minutes and get 3 to 4 rounds. The weight that you use, the speed that you use, etc., will determine how tired you get from it, but this is less structured. I just want to see approximately that amount of volume in approximately that amount of time, right? So the first one is a double dumbbell pullover, and it is the same thing as a regular dumbbell pullover. You just have independent hands instead of my hands tied together on that one dumbbell. So half the weight or less, because this is a more challenging movement, but I start with my elbows straight, shrugging up overhead, reach those arms all the way up to the overhead position, and then pull back over the middle of my body, right? That is our double dumbbell pullover. Much more challenging of a movement because my hands are independent of one another when I'm doing that. Next one is 3 position push-ups. A lot of different ways to do this, but just think of a set of push-ups, 1 long set of push-ups with 2 drops in resistance, okay? So that could be, I do my first set with my feet up on the bench like so. I go to close to failure and then move my feet down, do another set close to failure, and then put my knees down, another set close to failure. right? That's one method. Another method would be using the adjustable push-up bar right here. Let's say I start off with it really low, all right, do a set close to failure, pull the pin, move it up, like there's 5 or 8 dots, put the pin back in, another set, again, all right? So you can start on the ground, you can move between those, you could do a band across the rig and have 3 different band setups, but try to set it up so there's not much time taken in the drop, right? So that's why I like the feet up, feet down, knees down method, or go from the ground to a low bar to a medium bar would be another good method. But try to have 2 drops and go close to failure on each set. The next one is a flexed arm hang, and what we're shooting for on the flexed arm hang is somewhere greater than 10 seconds, right? And so some of you guys will be able to jump and like pull yourself up to this 90-degree position and just hold, and that's great. I'd like to see, try it both with your hands away and your hands facing towards you. They use slightly different muscles. Other good way to do this is by putting my adjustable pull-up bar somewhere at a reasonable medium height, right, where I can set my position, and then I slowly pull my feet out from underneath me, right? Or maybe I keep a tippy toe down like so. This is harder than it looks, right? But have enough pressure on the ground so that you can hold that position for a minimum of 10 seconds. And I'd love for it to be in the like 18 to 20 second range, right? It's a good medium, or I'm sorry, middle of the pull-up strength work that we're doing when we hold that flex arm hang for like in that 10-second range. Next one is just some dumbbell bench press, and I would go heavier, significantly heavier on this than you did on the double dumbbell pullover, probably double or triple the amount of weight that's used on the pullover, right? This is a very strong movement for most people compared with that. And then the last one is band rows from the rig to failure. So get a heavy band or get 2 heavy bands, make it something that gives you a little bit of a challenge, and see if you can get into the high teens or 20s on these band rows from the rig, right? They should be relatively quick, but hit failure and then rest and do it all again, all right? And that is it for our Friday. Have a great one. I'll see you guys on Saturday.